Dig, dig, diggity, dig, diggity dog. Hello, John here, and that's right, we're doing this bullshit all over again. After taking a page from the EWA's past and simming the 2020 Civil War match, I figured why not do the same for SuperBrawl as well. So, with that in mind, let's get this party started. Since I didn't have the time to add in the wrestlers' EWA music, let's just skip the entrances altogether and jump straight into the action. Kicking off this year's SuperBrawl match, we've got Kevin Owens of Team Bagwell, Okada of Team Wyatt, one half of the Tag Team Champions Jungle Boy representing Team Escobar, and last but by no means least, the legendary Diamond Dallas Page returning to EWA action for the first time since August 2016 as part of Team Noble. Fun fact about DDP starting this match, this marks his 4th SuperBrawl appearance all in all, and he's been the opening entrant for his team each and every time, even including the 2014 event when he was actually the defending World Heavyweight Champion coming into the match. Still, whether he starts the real SuperBrawl 20, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. At the moment though, he seems to be in quite the tussle with Kevin Owens, a guy who's also got some SuperBrawl pedigree, having once been a part of Team Venus way back in 2013. Obviously this is a slightly different Kevin Owens to the one who was kicking around back then, with Dimitri being a brand new face to the EWA this year, and someone who I think most will agree has already come a long way in a short amount of time. I guess it's also nice to see that while SuperBrawl is typically a time for returning old faces, new guys are getting their opportunities too. Including my old pal John, who's only had the one squash match with Okada so far, yet already finds himself on the biggest show of the year. Hopefully this is just the first of many pay-per-view appearances for Okada over the coming weeks and months. But it'd be remiss of me not to mention the run that the new Freebirds have been on this year as well. We've got Jungle Boy and Sean Spears representing the Tag Team Champions in this match. And they're a duo who've yet to taste defeat so far in 2020, which is pretty remarkable when you consider the teams they've gone up against, including the likes of the Dogs of War, Power and Glory, not to mention the Butcher and the Blade as well. And unlike this crappy simulation, the actual SuperBrawl match will have a tag team element to it for the first time ever this year. That's right, rather than a new entrant coming out after each elimination, we'll have them heading to ringside in 5-minute intervals, at which point they'll be able to tag into the match and give their teammates a reprieve. That tweak to the format could potentially work in the favour of established teams like the Freebirds and the Vegas Connection. But then again, if there's one thing you should know about SuperBrawl after 20 long years, it's that things rarely ever go to plan. Turning back to the action now, and despite hitting a sweet looking Michinoku driver, Kevin Owens could only manage a 1 count on DDP there. Meanwhile, Jungle Boy and Okada continue to duke it out as well. I should probably point out as well that when making all these greater wrestlers, I've stacked up their offensive attributes and put down the defensive ones as well, just to hopefully keep eliminations moving at a fairly brisk pace. We could soon see our first elimination too, with Okada getting the first special of the match. Both DDP and Jungle Boy looking like they're in a bit of trouble here. But with so many bodies getting in the way of each other, it kind of looks like Okada's special might actually go to waste right now. That could be a big missed opportunity for Okada there. Although he's found his way back to Jungle Boy again, picking him up. And that's a second half Nelson suplex in quick succession for the tag champ. He's barely clinging on here. But Jungle Boy shows some intestinal fortitude right there to fight back to his feet. While at the same time, Kevin Owens turns his attentions towards Okada, getting close to finding his first special of the match as well. Oh! Big time spinning power slam by DDP on Jungle Boy right there. He just flattened Jungle Jack. And that's enough to put him away. DDP eliminates Jungle Boy. And you know what that means? Diamond Dallas Page is now a 5-time EWA Tag Team Champion. Hold on. You've got to be kidding me. There goes Owens as well, falling victim to that double team powerbomb by Page and Okada. That's 2 eliminations within 30 seconds of each other, and all of a sudden, both Team Bagwell and Team Escobar are down to 3. We find ourselves in a bit of an interesting situation here too. As things currently stand, DDP shares the tag titles with Shawn Spears when ideally he probably wants Kevin Nash to pin Spears so the Vegas connection can walk out with the gold. But then for Nash to enter the match, DDP has got to be eliminated first. Although, I guess if DDP pins Spears as well, maybe he can claim both tag titles and just give the other to Big Sexy. But what about Spears himself? Surely he wants to retain his half of the tag titles too. And all he needs to do to make that happen is score an elimination himself. That's not looking too likely right now though, as Okada sends him into the corner and nope, he turns it into a rear naked choke. But Spears survives, having only just ended the match and not really taken enough punishment to give up just yet. And that's a crucial enziguri from Shawn Spears right there, buying him some much needed breathing room. But he's not the only active champion in this match right now, with Hangman Page having just arrived for Team Bagwell. That means the TV title is up for grabs as well. A championship that returned to the EWA during last year's free-for-all after an absence of 10 long years. No championship has changed hands more than the TV title during 2020, with Page recently making his first defense against Kenny Omega on Slam. But SuperBrawl is an entirely different challenge altogether, as Page is currently finding out as he tangles with who I presume must be his father, Diamond Dallas. What a weird coincidence to have 2 Pages in this year's SuperBrawl. And 2 Wyatts as well, as we'll see a little later on. Right now though, Spears and Okada seem to be working together to do more damage to Hangman Page, while at the same time, 64-year-old DDP looks like he may be running on empty already. To be fair, it's just been over 4 years since the last time he and Kevin Nash appeared in the EWA ring, so there's bound to be some ring rust. Well, not so much in this N64 universe, but you know what I mean. Spears now giving DDP a strong grapple, followed up with a jawbreaker. Meanwhile, Hangman blocks the Irish whip attempt from Okada, but he can't stop the backdrop driver there. I wonder what Okada has in mind here. Ooh, a fancy pants springboard back elbow hits the TV champion right on the button. And And now Okada and Spears are teaming up again, nailing Hangman with a big time double powerbomb. This doesn't look good for Page right now. And the bridging German suplex is enough to score the 3 count. Okada picks up his second elimination in the match. But perhaps more importantly, he also wins the television title as well. But at the same time, Shawn Spears has got himself a special if he can just perform a strong grapple on someone. But luckily for DDP and Okada, they both managed to avoid it. Which brings us nicely to our next entrant. And the third member of Team Bagwell coming into the match already. It's the EWA's resident asshole, Mr. Anderson. This marks his 4th SuperBrawl appearance, having competed as part of Team Franchise back in 2010, Team Rhodes in 2013, and then Team Tajiri back in 2017. Which was actually Mr. Anderson's final EWA match before this surprise return. Right now though, Okada has Dallas in a dangerous position. Oh, and he takes a page out of the World Champs playbook with a blockbuster. Yet, bizarrely, Okada chooses to whip DDP into the corner rather than pin him. Is that overconfidence on Okada's behalf, or I don't know, just bad AI? Either way, DDP survives for now, which is good news for Team Noble. And now he's got Okada in a Steiner recliner, straight out of Shoney's. While Shawn Spears makes the mistake of turning his back on Ken Anderson there. That's the trouble with matches like SuperBrawl. As cliche as it might be, you definitely need to have eyes in the back of your head. Especially so in this year's match, with more and more teammates potentially waiting on the apron to be tagged in the longer it goes on. We don't have to worry about that here though, as DDP takes Spears down and Okada does the same to Anderson. It's pretty weird that the 2 guys who've been in there the longest now are the 2 dominating the action. But hey ho, that's just the way it goes, I guess. They're the 2 guys to have won titles already as well, so it'll be interesting to see if they can add any more to the tally. After all, in this year's SuperBrawl, there's no limit to the amount of championships a superstar could potentially win. Right now though, it's DDP who's all over Shawn Spears, no doubt looking to claim that other half of the tag team titles for Big Kev. And now that he's pretty much got his special, could Spears be about to feel the bang? No. DDP opts not to activate it and instead sets his sights on Mr. Anderson, cinching in an abdominal stretch for no good reason. The potential special goes to waste then, while Okada and Spears now look to wear down Anderson themselves. And now it's Okada with yet another special, which probably means it's a bad idea for Spears to hit him in the back and attract the Rainmaker's attention like that. And there it is, Okada's second blockbuster of the match. And this time he learns from his previous mistake, making the cover and scoring the 3 count, which by my reckoning means he's now one half of the tag champs along with DDP, as well as the new TV champion. Of course, Spears' elimination means that's now 2 teams who are down to just 2 members, whereas Team Noble and Team Wyatt still have all 4 in the bank. Here comes Kenny Omega now, making his 3rd SuperBrawl appearance after competing for Team Tajiri in 2017, as well as Team Hustle, Loyalty and Respect in 2018. It's crazy to think Omega wasn't even on the EWA roster at the start of this year, after his previous run ended in disappointment. But the cleaner came back with a bang this summer, earning a new contract and obviously doing enough to convince Santos Escobar to pick him during the draft. It looks like he's gone straight after Okada too, no doubt looking to relive some of their classic New Japan battles here on the N64. But Okada switches focus to Anderson as he builds towards what must be his third or fourth special now. DDP and Omega might want to steer clear here and not make the same mistake that Shawn Spears did. Mr. Anderson could be in trouble here. And if he gets pinned, that'll bring in Buff Bagwell into the match already. Ooh, but it looks as if Anderson's luck holds out for now. Surviving that back elbow. But DDP is out of here. I believe it was a backdrop driver from Kenny Omega there, which I guess after all the punishment pages taken throughout this match was enough to put him away. And that means coming out next is Big Sexy himself, the man with the most SuperBrawl experience of anyone else in the match. In fact, Kevin Nash is a two-time winner, being part of Team Y2J back in 2002, as well as the legendary Team Vegas Connection team in 2012. It looks like Nash isn't wasting any time here either, going straight for Kenny Omega. There might not be any championships currently active in the match, but that doesn't mean Nash can't score a few eliminations and hopefully improve Team Noble's chances of going all the way. Omega breaks up that sleeper attempt on Anderson though, which you've got to think is a bit of a bad decision. After all, if Nash can make Anderson pass out or submit, that's one less superstar Kenny's got to worry about eliminating himself. Then again though, maybe Omega wants all the glory for himself. I mean, it is SuperBrawl, and the 20th anniversary at that. There's a trademark big boot from Nash on Okada. But despite being in there for 13 minutes, the Rainmaker survives again. Well, I say 13 minutes, but for some reason the timer on the N64 seems to run a little slow. And that's another 2 count for Nash on Okada. Despite being the much fresher man, Big Sexy just can't seem to put his opponent away. And meanwhile, Kenny Omega almost pinned Anderson there after that skull-cracking enziguri, only to eat a thunderous clothesline from the former 2-time Civil War winner there. Man, this action is really going back and forth. As Okada looks like he's close to yet another special. We've seen how much damage he can do with his version of the blockbuster. But Nash should have maybe taken a powder there. As Okada whips him into the ropes. Huge Rainmaker lariat. Or at least as close as I could get in this game. But Nash kicks out. Man, how tough is Big Kev? Still, it kind of looks like everyone smells blood in the water here as they all focus their attention on the 7-time tag team champion. Double bulldog from Omega and Anderson, planting Nash right on his face. And now they follow up with a double powerbomb too. I'm not sure how much more this Nash can take. He just about avoids whatever Okada had in mind there, but he can't get away from Ken Anderson, who drops Nash with a big time release Falcon Arrow before getting his first special of the match. Could this be all she wrote? Mic check connects. Anderson with the cover. And there goes Nash. Despite being the last man to enter the match, Big Sexy's night is over. And incredibly, Okada is still in this thing, giving Team Wyatt a huge numerical advantage at this stage of the game. Although I almost spoke too soon there as Anderson tries to take advantage of Kenny Omega's Dragon Screw leg whip. Here comes Eddie Kingston now, the third member of Team Noble. And Kingston's entrance into the match means we now have an active title up for grabs again. If anyone can pin the Mad King, they'll become the new national champion. But then again, if Kingston can score an elimination himself, he'll be the only champion to have retained his title in the match so far. This marks Kingston's second SuperBrawl appearance after winning in 2014 with Team Exile. But hold up! Omega with the approximation of a V-trigger on Okada there. And now he puts him down with the released Tiger Bomb as well. And it looks like Omega's not finished yet. But Okada kips over him. Oh, he can't escape that shin breaker though. And that's apparently enough to put the Rainmaker away. Although, to be fair to the guy, he has been in there a hell of a long time and taken a ton of punishment too. At least he can exit the match with his 2 new championships though. And now Team Wyatt are about to get a fresh man in there as well. Who's it gonna be? Ooh, it's the Eater of Worlds himself. Jeremy's creepy Uncle Bray. He walks straight into Mr. Anderson's right boot there before tying up with Kingston. But check out Kenny Omega here. The cleaner just got all of that Snapdragon and Anderson is done. That's Omega's second elimination of the match after taking out DDP earlier. But perhaps more importantly, that means that Team Bagwell is down to their last man already. And the World Championship is about to become active in the match as here comes Buff Bagwell. Or could that be David Arquette in disguise? I can't really tell the difference. Either way, it seems like Professor Buff's school for gifted wrestlers didn't exactly pay off for his team. That puts his title reign in some serious jeopardy here. I'm not sure even Judy can help him out of this particular jam. Not that the N64 has the processing power to allow it to come out right now anyway. It's not exactly been the best start to the match for Bagwell so far either. Although luckily he just about managed to avoid another V-trigger approximation there before they team up to split Bray Wyatt's wishbone. He and Kenny Omega have had their issues in recent weeks, with Bray accusing the Best Bout Machine of being scared of him. I gotta say, Omega doesn't look scared as he nails Bray with another double team move in quick succession. Omega picks him back up. And now another wishbone leg split. Man, Wyatt is getting hammered right now, while both Omega and Kingston have their specials handy. But it looks like they're gonna fade out before they can be used as Eddie and Kenny square up to one another. Meanwhile, Buff Bagwell senses that Bray Wyatt is in a bad way after all those double team maneuvers. And he blasts him with that Northern Lariat, even though that's a different grade character. Oh wow! And that's enough to score the all-important elimination that Buff Bagwell was looking for, meaning he retains the World Heavyweight title. Maybe I spoke too soon when I slagged off the effectiveness of Professor Buff's school for gifted wrestlers. So I guess that now means it's just Eddie Kingston's national championship that's still to play for in this one. Although let's not forget, even if the winning team don't walk out of SuperBrawl 20 with any gold around their waist, they'll still earn future title matches to be decided by their captain. In the meantime though, batten down the hatches and make sure your poop deck is swabbed, because here's One-Eye Lorcan. I don't know why I said it like that, but anyway. There's the Shin Breaker, the deadliest move in wrestling today, going by what we saw earlier in the match. But Kingston targets Omega before he can follow up, while Bagwell grapevines Lorcan's leg as he looks to force a submission. Wait! At the top of the screen! Omega hits a V-trigger on Kingston. Yeah, sweet Bertha Faye. The King of Diamonds kicks out, denying Omega that national championship. Kenny has yet to taste championship gold despite being in the EWA for almost 4 years now. So you can pretty much guarantee he's going to keep this pressure up to finally get that monkey off his back. Right now though, One-Eye Lorcan hasn't been able to get going from the moment he stepped foot in this match. Maybe that could be chalked up to a little ring rust after being MIA since late September. Well, then again, who knows? Maybe it's just the ill effects of getting lost at sea and drinking his own piss for 3 months. Still, Lorcan seems to be finally building some momentum here, dumping Kingston with that German suplex. But Eddie kicks out again. It's no secret that Kingston is a tough hombre, having sat under the learning tree of Dusty Rhodes many moons ago. But can Eddie make his own dream come true by retaining his title on the grandest stage of them all? Okay, I'll admit that was a pretty lame line, but you know, cut me some slack here. This commentary stuff isn't exactly easy. In fact, it's almost given me a newfound appreciation for Michael Cole. Well, almost. Back to the action though, and Lorcan reverses that powerbomb attempt into a Hurricane Rana pin. No, Omega kicks out by the skin of his teeth. Which, come to think of it, is a pretty weird expression. I mean, do teeth even have skin? I know they're coated in enamel, but unless it's referring to the gums, I guess. But anyway, that's not important right now. What is important is that we've got 4 top-tier superstars all battling it out for that next elimination, or in Captain Bagwell's case, just for survival. Even though Buff has already retained his World Championship by virtue of pinning Bray Wyatt, you can bet your bottom dollar he still wants to walk out as the overall winner of an event as historic as SuperBrawl 20. Right now it seems he's got Kenny Omega right where he wants him, planting the cleaner with a gourd buster. How's he going to follow up here? Oh, another Northern Lariat. But rather than go for the pin, Bagwell instead opts to lock in an abdominal stretch variation. While on the other side of the ring, Kingston drops Lorcan with a reverse suplex. The 21st Century Pirate could be about to walk the plank. No, Lorcan kicks out at 2. Kingston waits for One-Eye to rise. But he can't connect with the back fist of the future. Still, he's got Lorcan right where he wants him, picking the swashbuckling superstar up. Or maybe not, as Lorcan hits a half Nelson suplex from out of nowhere. The national champion is surely seeing stars after that move. Yet Lorcan can only get a 2 count. still, if One Eye can somehow pin or submit Kingston, then that means he's going to join his team captain and erstwhile rival Jeremy Wyatt as the only two men to hold both the national and television championships in 2020. But at the top of the screen there, Buff Bagwell almost scores a second elimination from a Northern Lariat. I believe Kenny Omega has been in the ring now for well over 10 minutes. And you've got to think that he might be starting to run out of juice here, despite the impressive run he's had. Certainly it seems as if Buff Daddy thinks he's vulnerable, going for a pin after pretty much every move he hits. But in typical No Mercy fashion, right as I say that, Bagwell seems determined to stop going after the guy who's arguably on the verge of being eliminated, instead trying to get involved in the battle between Lorcan and Kingston. A big back elbow takes Lorcan down, but not out as he kicks out at 2. And that now opens the door for Omega to start fighting back against Professor Buff. Or at least trying to anyway. While on the other side of the ring, it seems as if One-Eye Lorcan and Eddie Kingston are constantly countering one another for that all-important advantage. It's Kingston who comes out on top though with an enziguri that nearly knocks out Lorcan's one good eye. And the King of Diamonds heads up high now, before daintily coming down with a double stomp to Lorcan's back, right as Buff scores another 2 count on Kenny Omega. Kingston's the one to watch right now though, with a special in the bank and Lorcan in prone position. But Eddie sets his sights on Kenny Omega instead, only to be denied thanks to Buff Bagwell getting involved. It seems Omega owes Bagwell one there. Even though he got blindsided by the world champion, that inadvertently saved him from almost certain elimination from Eddie Kingston in that special. Professor Buff manages to shrug off the national champion there, allowing Omega to try for the cover. I don't think so, Kenny. It's going to take more than a back elbow smash to put away someone like Eddie Kingston. Oh, but a low blow could put down any man for the count. Only for the cleaner to survive yet again. Talk about having balls of steel. But now Bagwell grabs One-Eye Lorcan from behind. And Omega and Kingston combine with a double wishbone leg split. And speaking of balls, I think I might have seen one of Lorcan's fly into the crowd there. Oh, and Omega scores his 4th elimination of the match. It's hard to see anyone beating that tally this late into the contest. Right as the clock ticks down and we await the arrival of Jeremy Wyatt. And it really doesn't feel that long ago that Team Wyatt had a huge advantage over everyone else, given how long Okada lasted into the match. But all of a sudden the Monarchs team is in real trouble here. Let's see what he can do to try and turn this thing around. Obviously he can't win the world title like he would have wanted, but the national championship is still on the line since Eddie Kingston hasn't been able to pin or submit any of his opponents yet. Although right as I say that, he blasts Buff Bagwell with that lariat. And just like that, Kingston pins the world champion to eliminate Team Bagwell from the match. Still, regardless of retaining his national title, you'd think that any scenario where someone beats the world champion would automatically qualify them for a future title shot, regardless of the final outcome here at SuperBrawl. Well, I guess I'll just have to create a Harry Smith on the game to try and sort through who gets what shot first. Well, I guess that means we don't have any more titles on the line. As I mentioned earlier, the winning team can still walk out with some championship matches in their back pocket. Not to mention the bragging rights that come along with winning the historic 20th edition of SuperBrawl. And what a feather in the cap that would potentially be for Jeremy Wyatt. It's well documented how great of a debut year he's had in the EWA, winning both the television and national titles on his way to the main event scene. If he could win SuperBrawl as well, something tells me we'll be hearing him brag about it for a long time to come. Unfortunately though, Wyatt's in a spot of bother here as Omega fires up his special, and Eddie Kingston is happy to hang back as Kenny hooks him up. V-trigger! And that's got to be it for Jeremy. No! Somehow, some way, Jeremy Wyatt manages to stay in this thing, despite being in really bad shape right now. Omega hits another V-trigger-like knee. And now he's looking for his 5th elimination of the match. But he still can't put Kingston away. Man, the cleaner's got to be wondering what the hell is it gonna take. Meanwhile, Wyatt is right there to capitalize, showing that downright sneaky streak of his. You've seen the Monarch connive and cheat his way to victory so many times over these last 7 months. Could he do the same at the granddaddy of them all as well? He almost had Omega there, but Kenny continues to survive despite having been in there for just over 15 minutes of N64 time, which is, I think, more than 20 minutes in reality. This is a turn up for the books though, as Buff Bagwell seemingly helps out his sworn enemy Jeremy Wyatt by tripping up Eddie Kingston from ringside. And Wyatt now hits Omega below the belt with that big time atomic drop too. Feels like the Kansas City native is really starting to build some momentum here. No doubt helped by the exhaustion of his 2 opponents. And somewhat surprisingly, Buff Bagwell too. But that might have just painted a target on Wyatt's back as Omega and Kingston throw wild shots at him. All while the Monarch desperately tries to fight them off. He counters the V-trigger into an Encore lock there. But no sooner does he release the hold than Buff Bagwell trips Wyatt up. That's definitely more like the kind of interference I was expecting to see by Buff Daddy. Kingston connects with the backbreaker. Yet, rather than make the most of that situation, it looks like Eddie and Kenny are going to start tussling once again. At this point, I'm almost starting to wonder if it's personal between these two. Or at least as personal as it can get between two created video game wrestlers. Wyatt is right there to make the most of it too, raking his fingernails down Omega's back. Before now working with Kingston to spike Omega with that double team power driver. Wyatt sneaks in to make the cover. And after an incredible showing, Kenny Omega is finally beaten. May not have won a championship in this simulation, but boy howdy, did he ever stand out. And he could still walk away with some kind of title opportunity as well, as here comes the 2020 King of the Ring and his team captain, Santos Escobar. It's worth pointing out as well, the self-styled Emperor of Lucha Libre has yet to be beaten in an EWA ring since his debut at the start of November. In fact, it was just last Sunday that he even defended his captain spot against Ricky Starks, pretty much just because he could. But this isn't the start that Escobar was hoping for, as Wyatt slams him down and Kingston fires up his special once again. Oh, Escobar just got dumped on top of his head with that backdrop driver. But then the Mad King suddenly goes after Jeremy Wyatt instead. The atomic drop is enough to stun him. And there's another soul-destroying lariat from Kingston. Oh wow, by the power of Grayskull. That's a second team captain that Eddie Kingston has eliminated, meaning we're down to just 2 teams remaining. And somewhere backstage, Jamie Noble has got to love what he's seeing here. At the rate Kingston's going, Noble can win Super Brawl without even officially entering the match. Eddie seems to have Escobar right where he wants him too. But now Santos is starting to fight back, and who can blame him? Even this N64 version realizes what's at stake here. But the question is, can Escobar find a way to do what nobody else in this match has been able to do and defeat Eddie Kingston? He avoids that kick attempt there, but there's no escaping that rake to the eyes. And that's Kingston all over right there. He's not a high flyer or a technician, but more of a down and dirty street fighter who'll do whatever it takes to get the win and head straight to the pay window, if you will. Oof. Dusty's probably turning in his grave after that terrible impression. Anyway, Escobar looks to utilize his lucha style to roll him up. But it's only good for a 2 count that time. Maybe that's Santos' best bet here though. While Kingston is a dangerous striker, he might not have any answer for Escobar's unique aerial game. And it's almost as if he heard me say that as Escobar heads up top before coming down with a spinning wheel kick that rocks the King of Diamonds. Eddie desperately tries to punch his way back into this, but Escobar goes behind with a schoolboy, and apparently that will do it. I mean, I don't want to take too much credit for that elimination, but come on, I practically told Escobar how to beat Kingston there. Well, for some reason, Escobar heads straight outside the ring where Buff Bagwell and Jeremy Wyatt are having a staring contest. But more importantly, here comes our final entrant in Super Brawl 20. It's the man who won this year's Civil War and a former world champion in his own right, Jamie Noble. The Redneck Messiah feels as if he's been screwed over time and time again by the EWA this year, but I'm sure even he can't complain about entering this match last. And correct me if I'm mistaken here, but it looks like he's gone straight to his trademark hold, the trailer hitch. However, Escobar holds on for now before taking Noble down with a big chop to the chest. And now he goes right back to his high-flying offense with that spin kick to the back of the head. It's definitely starting to feel like we're heading to the part of the match where any mistake could be the difference maker. And that might count as one right there, with Santos's neckbreaker attempt ending with him sent head over heels with a German suplex. Jamie Noble needs to choose his next move wisely if he wants to capitalize. Well, more wisely than that at least, as he misses the drop kick. And that opens the door once again for the Emperor of Lucha Libre. But Noble manages to hop back into the ring, only for Escobar to beat him to the grapple. Yet the Peckerwood Jesus counters the whip into a ball-busting atomic drop. The video skipped slightly there thanks to my admittedly cheap-ass recording equipment, as Noble does what Kingston couldn't and blocks that spinning wheel kick attempt. And now, there's a shot to the back to follow up. And could we be setting up for a Tiger Driver here to finish the match in style as Noble activates his special? Oh, apparently not, as he instead opts for some kind of falling sleeper drop. But it's enough to pick up the 3 count regardless. And with that, Team Noble emerge victorious in this simulated Super Brawl spectacular. Of course, much like when I did this at Civil War, you can probably take this result with a pinch of salt. Although, as I recall, Jeff with a J did win that simulation too, albeit with Bo Dallas instead of Jamie Noble. Anyway, hopefully this has given you a taste for what's to come at SuperBrawl proper. No doubt the match Newt rights will be a hell of a lot better than this one was. And with way better commentary too. But still, thanks for watching along, and maybe we'll do this again when Civil War rolls around in a few months. Until next time, bye bye!